Nature doesn't create perfectly straight lines cutting the horizon. It doesn't sculpt mathematically precise circles emerging from the ground. And it certainly doesn't forge geometrically flawless spheres of 16 tons sprouting from Costa Rican jungle like fallen monuments of a lost stellar civilization. This is not the work of wild nature. It is an absolutely irrefutable technological signature, concrete physical proof of an organizing mind, and precision tools that shouldn't have existed more than 1,500 years ago in pre-Columbian America. More than 300 monumental spheres have been systematically discovered scattered throughout Costa Rica, some weighing more than fully developed adult elephants, all of them mathematically perfect, like products from ultra-modern industrial engineering factories. But the true cosmic message that these spheres contained in their original millennial arrangement, the crucial geodesic secret of their calculated astronomical disposition, was systematically and criminally erased by unbridled commercial greed and human archaeological ignorance, a cosmic library completely vandalized by tractors, a planetary code irreversibly fragmented by bulldozers, an intellectual tragedy of monumental historical proportions that can never be completely repaired. We are about to systematically investigate an archaeological crime scene against the intellectual history of humanity. Before diving deeply into this historical forensic investigation, comment "Decode" if you solemnly swear to look far beyond the apparent rocky surface and actively help us reconstruct the lost cosmic message that these monumental spheres silently guarded for centuries. Volcanic granodiorite, igneous rock of extreme hardness classified as 6 on the International Mohs scale of mineral resistance. To sculpt a single geometrically perfect sphere in this extremely resistant stone material would require absolutely precise millimetric control of applied pressure, constant working temperature, and mathematically calculated angular rotation. With primitive tools of chipped stone and wood from the 5th century, physically and mathematically impossible according to modern engineering. Analyses performed with military precision, industrial 3D laser technology revealed maximum structural deviation of only 2 exact millimeters in monumental spheres with 2 complete meters of perfect diameter. To establish rigorous scientific perspective, an internationally regulated professional billiard ball has maximum technical tolerance of 0.5 millimeter of imperfection. These pre-Columbian ancestral spheres, some literally 10 times larger in scale, demonstrate geometric precision 4 times superior to the most rigorous existing modern industrial standards. Rigorously controlled scientific experiments using exclusively historically documented pre-Columbian tools, ceremonial axes of polished jade, resistant chisels of hard basalt, natural abrasives of volcanic sand failed completely and spectacularly. Entire months of intensive specialized work resulted only in extremely rough approximations, irregular and imperfect surfaces. Absolutely no remote resemblance to the mathematically precise geometric perfection found silently preserved in the exuberant Costa Rican jungle. The technical conclusion is scientifically inescapable and irrefutable. These monumental spheres were not sculpted using known or archaeologically documented primitive technology. They were deliberately manufactured with technical precision methods that our contemporary conventional archaeology simply cannot adequately explain.
They are irrefutable physical signatures of lost ancestral engineering, concrete material evidence of advanced technological knowledge completely disappeared from official history.
1939, initial discovery by United Fruit Company expedition during systematic jungle clearing for commercial banana plantations. Rare historical photographs document first spheres discovered in their completely preserved original millennial positions. Shocking archaeological revelation. They weren't randomly scattered across the landscape. They formed mathematically precise and deliberate geometric patterns. Perfect straight lines connecting multiple spheres, exact equilateral triangles measuring hundreds of meters, calculated directional alignments that pointed to specific astronomical coordinates on the celestial horizon. Dr. Ivar Zapp, specialized astronomer from Harvard University, after decades of dedicated research, identified correspondences statistically impossible to be mere astronomical coincidence. Specific groups of spheres pointed mathematically to exact and calculated stellar positions during ancestral solstices and equinoxes. Orion constellation at perfect zenith. Cassiopeia rising on eastern horizon. The Pleiades positioned at exact western horizon, as if they were permanent physical landmarks of a celestial map precisely engraved on Earth's surface by ancestral astronomers. Then came the systematic, organized, and commercially motivated profanation. Criminal archaeological decades of 1950s and 60s. Greedy commercial farmers, ignorant urban builders, unscrupulous real estate speculators. They moved millennial sacred spheres as simple commercial decorative stones for cheap urban landscaping. They irreversibly broke astronomical alignments carefully preserved for 15 complete centuries. They literally and methodically tore the unique pages of the only cosmic book that this lost ancestral civilization bequeathed directly to the future. Imagine discovering Leonardo da Vinci's complete original scientific manuscripts and deliberately burning them to make backyard barbecue. Imagine finding the complete and intact Rosetta Stone and consciously using it as decorative base to build a residential grill. It was exactly this precise magnitude of systematic intellectual vandalism that deliberately happened to Costa Rica's monumental spheres, a millennial cosmic library irreversibly transformed into urban garden commercial decoration. They didn't just move monumental stones weighing 16 tons. They systematically and irreversibly fragmented the only cosmic message that this ancestral civilization deliberately left for future generations of humanity. Oracle's Codex exists precisely to patiently re-glue these precious archaeological fragments of lost ancestral knowledge. If you genuinely want to join us in the heroic reconstruction of this lost cosmic library, subscribe right now. Each new subscription represents one more dedicated mind working collaboratively on solving the archaeological puzzle. 1944. Systematic American military reconnaissance flight over Costa Rica. High-resolution technical aerial photographs document with absolute precision the complete and intact archaeological map. All spheres in original positions. All astronomical alignments preserved. The entire cosmic library perfectly preserved in classified military archive images. For 70 complete years, these military photographs remained systematically archived in classified military bases, completely ignored by the international archaeological community, never consulted or analyzed before systematic and organized destruction. We had the complete archaeological map in our hands. We knew exactly what we were irreversibly losing. It wasn't accidental archaeological ignorance. It was conscious and systematic negligence. the international scientific community had total and unrestricted access to complete photographic evidence. They deliberately chose not to act preventatively. They passively and consciously watched the systematic destruction of the most important archaeological discovery in all the Americas. Emerging scientific hypothesis based on physical evidence. Costa Rica's monumental spheres constituted specific local components of a planetary geodesic technology still incomprehensible to conventional archaeological science. Theory rigorously based on documented physical evidence, not baseless pseudoscientific speculation. Anomalous magnetic properties rigorously verified by scientific laboratory. Multiple spheres exhibit precisely measured magnetic fields not explained by known standard mineral composition of volcanic granodiorite. Unexpected and measurable electrical conductivity. Acoustic resonance at mathematically calculated specific frequencies. The spheres were not passive decorative objects or primitive art. They were active, functional components of a geodesic system whose specific purpose we are still systematically deciphering. Even commercially displaced, systematically profaned, and irreversibly fragmented, the spheres still carry their essential message intact. They silently witness a culture obsessively dedicated to absolutely mathematical geometric perfection, to calculated harmony with cosmic cycles, to conscious and deliberate integration with natural planetary forces that our modern science has barely begun to understand systematically and rigorously. Perhaps their final purpose wasn't exclusively to map stellar constellations, but to deliberately test developed future civilizations, a rigorous test of collective intellectual maturity, to scientifically verify if we would be wise enough to preserve knowledge instead of ignorantly vandalizing, intelligent enough to decipher messages instead of systematically ignoring, humble enough to learn from ancestors instead of arrogantly destroying their legacy. Costa Rica's monumental spheres represent crucial central piece of a planetary archaeological puzzle, essential fragment of lost ancestral geodesic technology. But they're certainly not the only archaeological fragment available for rigorous scientific investigation. What other archaeologically inexplicable artifact do you scientifically believe connects to Costa Rican spheres? Comment your rigorously evidence-based hypothesis. Let's collaboratively weave the geodesic knowledge network of the ancient world, based exclusively on physical archaeological evidence, not pseudoscientific speculation. Each archaeological mystery we rigorously decipher significantly brings us closer to the greater historical truth. Oracle's Codex, systematically reconstructing ancestral knowledge with rigorous modern scientific methodology. Subscribe to actively participate in the next archaeological discovery. The Planetary Geodesic Wisdom Network awaits systematic and collaborative reconstruction.